Hello, my name is Lily Ray, and I'm a student at Oak Bay High School. In the past few weeks in Miss Watson's English class, we've been immersing ourselves in the world of poetry. We've been learning about the different figures of speeches and how to use them, as well as many different forms of poetry, including haikus, free verse, and rhyming. Throughout this presentation, I will be demonstrating my understanding of Aboriginal culture through different forms of poetry. I hope you enjoy the presentation and learn about the struggles Aboriginals go through. The moon. Its presence known high above the earth, the moon will protect us from the dangers within. It's always there, no matter what time of day, a symbol of determination, past and present, reminding us of our struggles. No matter who we are, no matter what we are, when we look up to the sky, we all see the same moon, a sign of unity, lurking in the darkness, its presence known high above the earth. This poem is my symbol poem that I wrote about the moon. In this poem, I tried to explain the importance of the moon to First Nations. In my poem, I repeated the first line at the end of the poem to create emphasis on the presence of the moon and to make the poem flow. Our lives were once filled with dancing and singing, words that spoke of joy and laughter. We would walk amongst the common man and be treated like no other. But now, many years later, we are broken and vulnerable, our dances and songs pushed below the surface, never to be heard from again. This is not the life we wanted to live. This is not the path we wanted to travel. This was not our choice. Our children torn from our hands which are still frozen cold with regret. Through night, through day, our hearts will wander, looking, searching, longing for loved ones who have yet to return. The innocence of our children, wasting away behind the brick walls, like a bird whose wings have been clipped. The following emotion poem creates the image of loss and regret, but also emphasizes the change in Aboriginals' lives. The first two poetic devices I used were personification to create an image in your head of the loss of culture they are forced to go through. The first line expresses the stories they were able to tell through these songs and dances. The second line expresses how trapped they must have felt not being able to express themselves in that way. The third poetic device I used was a hyperbole. This hyperbole exaggerates the feeling of losing something important like a child and not being able to do anything about it. The fourth and final poetic device I used was consonants. I used the words looking, searching, and longing because the first two are very similar, but the third one is an outcome of not being able to find that thing. Truth is important. It is there when you need it. Truth can reveal love. Wisdom is knowledge. It binds our ways of living. It cannot be taught. The wings of a raven, like the imagination of a child, spread out in the sky, flying high above the trees. The mind of a raven, mischievous but wise, guarding us, watching us. The talons of a raven, sharp and precise, searching for its prey like the hungry bird it is. The eyes of a raven, small and black, searching deep within for flaws, reading your soul. The heart of a raven, strong and fierce, determined and intelligent, like the cold winds that ravage through the mountains. A raven can mean many things, but most of all, the raven is a living being. For my fourth poem, I chose to do the concrete shape of that of a raven. I chose the raven because it is a key part of many First Nations legends and stories. It can symbolize a change in lifestyle, creativity, and humor. The first poetic device I used was a simile. I compared the wings of a raven with the imagination of a child because they both are vast and delicate, and they are both different from others. The second poetic device I used was a hyperbole. I used the hyperbole to create an exaggerated image in the reader's mind. The third and final poetic device I used was another simile. I compared the heart of a raven and cold winds because I think they have similar qualities. Winds can be very persistent and fierce, which ravens can also be. The theme of this poem is how all living beings are the same, no matter what shape or form. This theme is a very prominent teaching when it comes to certain First Nations customs. Free reign, range, entitlement, exemption, discretion, opportunity, manumission. My fifth and final poem is my poem of choice. I chose to do an acrostic poem representing freedom. Each line is a synonym of freedom to help get the message across. I chose the word freedom because I thought it represented what First Nations are trying to gain. Before, they were forced to hide their culture, but now, people are more accepting of them and their customs. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you learn a lot about different poetic devices in Aboriginal culture. I'd like to thank Miss Watson for helping us write our poems, Alex Nelson and Starla Anderson for giving us amazing insight on the challenges Aboriginals face daily, and Mr. McKenzie for helping us figure out this app. As I said, I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and thank you for listening.